Welcome back to another episode of the Creative Hunter podcast. This is episode 61. Pretty crazy. This is your host, Logan Romney, as always, and thank you for joining. We are doing just kind of a run through update episode right now. If you guys haven't seen the last episode, I did a pack dump on my scouting, overnight scouting pack dump. So I've been doing a handful of scouting trips just over the past probably 5 weekends or so, and then a few before that. Um, and a lot of them are overnight trips because you want to get as much time out there as you can. I usually end up leaving like Thursday night and then coming home Sunday morning. So a handful of nights in there, um, and you can get quite a bit of scouting done in just a few weekends. So I ran through my whole kit for backcountry scouting, overnight trips, backpack hunting for these scouting trips that I go on. So it's pretty sweet. Check it out. This week, last week on Saturday, we just released the bear hunt film from our spring bear hunt from this year. We killed 4 bears in one hunt, which is insane. It was an awesome hunt, and that film's out. So there's some creative choices I made with the film that were a little bit interesting. It's an hour and 20-minute film, so it's a long film. But on camera, we kill 3 bears right there. So I think it's pretty good because it's split up nicely. You get a lot of behind the scenes, you get a lot of the action and kind of what's going on and why, and you get the whole trip, right? So if you haven't seen that yet, check it out. It is a super sweet film, and we killed it. I was with Jamin Davis and with Riley Seeholzer, and so all of us killed a bear, and Jamin killed 2 bears. So it was an awesome trip. Check that out. Our sponsors on that film were our main sponsors were Wilderness Athlete and Onyx, and then we had a handful of companies who helped kind of support where we just got them content. So like Hardside Hydration was one of them. Grakksaw we helped out, and then Felite we were wearing some of their clothing, which is good stuff. It's pretty centered around that like Midwestern, like Eastern whitetail hunter type of gear. But anyways, that's a story for a different time. So we we had those guys kind of our sponsors, and I'll touch on this real quick because I think some of you guys might find this interesting. But how we got those sponsors and how we went about that is we've done this before, and we have good relationships with the people at those brands. Um, oh, sorry. Also, yeah, I said Onyx. Yeah, I said Wilderness Athlete and Onyx. So the both of those brands, we have good relationships with the people there, the marketing guys, and so we shoot a lot of content for them throughout the year. Um, and when we have a big trip like this, sometimes we'll reach out and say, "Hey, we have this trip planned. It's an awesome hunt," or yeah, it's an awesome hunt. We're gonna be making a film out of it. It's gonna be a great opportunity to get some extra content for you guys. So we'll say, hey, while we're on this hunt, we're gonna get you X number of photos, X number of reels. Maybe sometimes reels are or not, aren't in there. Depends on the hunt. And then we're gonna have you guys as like a title sponsor on the film. So we'll show your gear being used in natural ways. We've never like pushed gear being used or stopped the film just to talk about a piece of gear necessarily, right? Unless it's like being used and we're like, hey, this is something that's cool that we're using right now. Um, that's kind of how we run the sponsorship. So we'll reach out and say, hey, we'll get you this amount of photos, or assets, whatever, for this price. And what's cool with that is we get to go out and do these cool adventures and these hunts. And when we have clients like that who will pay us a little bit of money for us to get them some content on those trips, now we can actually afford to go on more trips and afford to do these cool type of trips because the trip is a business expense, right? Like we're making money on the trip with the content we're creating while we're out there. So it pays for the trip, and then hopefully we set it up right to where we actually make some money on top of the trip as well for the content that we're doing, and then we have to edit stuff when we get back home and all that stuff. So that's how I do it, and I know a lot of people do it that way. It's not unheard of. In fact, a lot of different industries will do that as well. If you look at like any other sport industry, maybe we'll say like rock climbing, like climbers will have a climb they want to go do or an adventure they want to go on, and they're gonna pitch these big companies, whatever, what could be North Face, Patagonia, whatever, and they'll say, hey, this is the trip I want to go on. I'm gonna bring this photographer with me, and we're gonna capture some content while we're here, and the brand will pay for them to go on trips and stuff. So it's not unheard of at all. There's just kind of different ways to go about it depending on maybe the industry you're in or the type of, uh, of hunt or brand you're working with, or even just yourself. Um, is you just need to find ways that you can bring value to a brand, and then leverage that and use that to your advantage and also for the brand's advantage, so the brand can get some sweet content from you and you can make money doing what you love to do. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to touch on that point, because it's a cool deal. So right now we're sending pitches to brands, for some fall hunts that are getting approved and signing contracts and stuff for a handful of hunts that we are getting, some sponsorship money for. But really, I think the most value for them comes from the content that we create, while we're on the hunt. So um, and I didn't always do that, because obviously I needed to have a few years where I just built up a good portfolio and resume so that I could go to a brand and say, hey, like, we're gonna go on this trip. Here is content that I've shot on 10 hunts over the past 2 years, or like whatever. Here's my best stuff that I've got over the last 2 years, and that'll just give a brand confidence that, okay, we can trust these guys that they're gonna go out and they're gonna capture the content. Um, the other the other thing is with some of the brands that I work with right now over this fall is they are like full-time sponsors. So that I'm not working with them on hunt specific um, projects, but it's more of like for the whole entire fall. Um, so there's a brand I work with where, for the whole fall I owe them a certain amount of photos and a certain amount of reels, and I've included them as a sponsor on any film that gets done this fall. So that's pretty cool. Like, I have a good relationship with that brand, and I've had to build that up over a couple of years. Um, and then there's also some like retainer type of clients that I have, to where every month or every quarter I'm getting them deliverables, and that those deliverables might change quarter to quarter or month to month depending on the brand you're working with. But those are nice because you can sign a 6 month contract or a year contract, and all right, every month or 3 months or however they set it up, I'm gonna get paid as long as I deliver the content that they ask for. So that's one way to kind of just, to set up your your life so that you can actually get paid consistently rather than just having odd jobs here and there. Retainer contracts are huge. You've probably heard of them if you are a creator in the industry or in any industry, but it's a great idea to start looking into that and trying to figure out how you can use those with a brand. And it might not be big at first, but it could grow into something cool. So next thing that I wanted to talk about. Oh, I forgot to talk about this at the beginning, but um, on the Creative Hunter website, I am putting up a couple new hats here this week. So if you want to grab a hat, you can grab them. And for the podcast listeners, I offer a discount. So if you use the code podcast15, all capitals, no spaces, you can get 15% off of any product on the website. So that's just something that I want to give to you guys, hopefully to help you guys save a little bit of money. And then, I mean, the more orders I make, the more I can just keep expanding this little business I got and make it a full-time gig. Right now, I'm at an interesting point with Creative Hunter Media because as I'm recording this episode, I graduate college today, which is so crazy. So it's a new chapter kind of moving into the next section now. I've never let school hold me back. So that's why I have the podcast, I have this company. I still go out and make time to go on trips and make my dreams happen. I never let school be an excuse to that. But now it's kind of funny because now in my head it's like it's almost like subconsciously kind of did let school um, interfere with work to where I would be like, okay, once I'm done with school, then I can do this with the business, and then I can like spend all day and focus only on the business. And every time I would think that, I'd be like, no, like school's not an excuse. I can still work just as hard on the business right now, even when I graduate. And now I'm graduated, and it's kind of funny because it's like, okay, now I have no excuse to slack off or to be lazy or not work on stuff. Like now it's real, and this is my job, which is so cool. It's my full-time job is to be a creator here at Creative Hunter at Her Media, and the hope is that someday this grows into something where I can hire people and bring people on. It's not at that point right now. I make enough money to support myself and my wife currently with what we have, and we live in an apartment. Um, but someday, um, I want to grow it to be able to hire people to come work for Creative Hunter Media and full time, whether it's content creation, whether it's running social media channels, whether it's doing social ads. There's a lot of potential as a media agency and different directions to go um, in, in the type of industry that we're in. So when it comes to marketing, it's almost like almost everything marketing a media agency can handle if they have the expertise. And so there will be a point in time where I will be looking for people to hire and people with some experience, right? Because we're working with real brands and not just real brands, but like big companies, big brands that are willing to pay money if someone can perform and do a good job on their stuff. So that'll be something in the future. It's not gonna. I don't know when it could be, but sooner would be cool. But I don't think it would be for another year or two until like I'd have to be having enough jobs where I'd need someone to help out. Um, and honestly, I think the biggest thing that would save me time is having an editor for YouTube videos, for it to make Instagram reels, to do all that stuff. An editor and a content creator would probably save me the most time and eventually money down the road when I start to get enough jobs and it starts to where editing the content starts to take a toll on everything else. So it'll get there. There'll be a time where that's gonna be the case. So um yeah, so check out the website, check out the new YouTube video. Um like I said, use the code podcast15, you'll save some money on the website, and I was literally working on some new hats today, so I'll get those up in the next couple of days probably, and get those live. Um, I also just some exciting stuff. Like I ordered a new podcast mic and like headphone setup, so that'll get here this week. So I'll have that for next week's podcast, which I'm really excited about. just gonna make the audio quality better. I don't feel like I do a terrible job at it, but I just want to bring it up to the next level, and be able to just record some better quality podcasts, or like record stuff in the car. Because this current setup I have right now, I'm using this DJI wireless mic. Works pretty good in here. I mean, this room is pretty echoey. You can probably tell it's not a big room, and it's just all hard walls. But um, the new mic that I got is like a broadcast mic kit type of deal. So it's a headset with a mic, and it works pretty dang well. I've listened to podcasts of people who have recorded them in their car, and you can't even hear that there's a car in the background. So pretty sweet. So I'm excited. I'm excited for that. We're gonna cover, because we've been going for about 15 minutes now. I'm gonna cover um, some of the training that I've been doing recently for hunts, because I get questions about this often, right? I do kind of these Q&As on Instagram, and there's a few questions I get super often. One of them is like, what camera should I buy? What camera should I buy for under $1,000? What lenses should I get? All this camera technical stuff, which is great. And I used to be someone who would think about those questions. But once you get into it to a point like I do, you really realize that cameras don't make the difference between how good of a creator you are. Um, a person who has no experience with cameras, if they buy the nicest camera and lens setup out there, they're not going to be any better than they were if they bought a couple $100 camera and lens setup. Like, a camera is never going to make you a better content creator, photographer, videographer, whatever it is, um, unless your skills supersede what your current camera setup is. So I totally understand if you're shooting right now on a cheap camera and you want to upgrade because you feel like your skills are getting to that point where you're lacking in your setup, then yeah, look into some new stuff. Look into some more of the expensive stuff. There is perks and benefits to shooting on more expensive cameras. But if you've never shot on a professional camera before and you're just looking to try and buy your first one, or you've never filmed a hunt before and you want to go film your own hunt, yeah, don't spend a lot of money on a camera, because you need to get the reps in first before you go buy a super nice camera. And because the cheaper cameras, most of the time, they're probably a little easier to use. There's probably a few less settings on them. Sure, the quality may not be quite as good, but really, when you're telling a hunt story, it's content over quality. The story matters much more than the quality of the content does, or yeah, than the quality of the video. So so that being said, it's like, um, don't don't go and try and buy a camera if you that's out of your skill level. It's just, there's more settings, there's more stuff to worry about. There's more manual type of features, which can be good if you know what they mean and what they do. But if you've never shot on a camera before, if you've never filmed something, look for something easy to use. Look for something that you're going to be excited and want to use. Because at the end of the day, that's really the most important part of it, is, are you excited to go grab your camera and go out and capture content? And if the camera is too intimidating and too big and maybe a little scary because you just don't know how to use it, you're not going to use it as much as you would. So that's my advice on that question. Now, moving on, another question I get a lot is how to stay fit for the backcountry. What do you do for training? A lot of people who follow me on Instagram have probably seen I do a lot of running. I just ran an ultra marathon a couple weeks ago. Um, and that's the majority of my training during certain times of the year. I kind of go in waves a little bit, and it's kind of just depends on what I'm stoked about. Sometimes I like going to the gym a bunch. Sometimes I love running a bunch. Sometimes, um, sorry, throat's getting dry from talking. Sometimes Like right now, I'm getting into a really new thing, and it's crazy because it's like right at the big. It's like hunting season starts in like a month, less than a month. But I'm getting into like triathlon type of stuff, so swimming and biking and running. um, I'm not a big swimmer, and I'm not a huge biker, but I love running. So me and a buddy, we went this morning, and we did like a swim and a bike and a run. Not very far. I think we did like a third of a mile of a swim. We did 3 miles on the bike, and then we did a mile run. So like nothing crazy. It took us less than way less. It took us less than an hour to do the whole thing. Um, and to me, like swimming is not comfortable. I'm not a good swimmer. I've never swam a lot in my life. As far as like swimming back and forth laps in a pool. Um, and so that was hard for me. I was like out of breath the whole time. It was interesting, but I'm like kind of hooked on it now because I want to be better. And I think probably next year I'll probably do some sort of like triathlon or something. I also want to do a 100-mile ultra marathon, either next year or in years to come, because it just pushes me to train harder and to be more in shape. So what that's what I train for. I train kind of for whatever I'm stoked for in the moment. Now, if I was gonna recommend someone train to for a hunting scenario, rucking 100% is the best way to train for hunting. And I will die on that hill right there because when you hunt, you throw a backpack on that has weight in it, and you go hike through the hills, up and down and across side hills and everything. And you can't do that in the gym. You can't do that on a road, but you can throw a backpack on and with weight and go on a trail and or on a mountain. You don't even need a trail and go hike, and you're gonna build cardio. You're gonna build muscle mass in your legs. You're gonna build some bone density. There's science behind this. Um, and then you're gonna just be better in the mountains. You're gonna be used to carrying weight on your pack. You want to use, if you can, use the exact same pack you're gonna be carrying hunting, because you're also gonna be able to adjust the fit and get it to fit right and feel good. You may need to adjust some shoulder straps or some waist belts, and get it to where you can throw 25, 30, 40, 50 pounds on your pack, go hike 6 miles up and down and across hills, and nothing is sore. Your hips are fine. Your shoulders are fine. What I see as probably one of the biggest things that hold people back is that right there, is that they just aren't fit for the mountain. Um, I've seen guys who are like shredded, um, throw a pack on, and like life just sucks for them because they've never done it. They've never put weight on their back and gone on a hike in the mountains. Um, they just throw around weights and lift stuff, and it's great. It builds your physique. It's going to build some muscle mass and bone density, but you're probably not building a ton of cardio doing that. You're also not building the same type of muscles and structure as you are is if you just threw a pack on and went out on a hike. And I'm not saying you need to go hike in the mountains every day. I think that if you live in town, like I live right in town, um, throw a pack on and go on a walk every day. And then if you could do it like once or twice a week, go out on a trail and go hiking. The good advantage about having a trail is that you just get some uneven terrain, you get some variability, so you can build some of those supporting little muscles that can help, so you're not rolling ankles um, or any of that. And going up and down hills, it's a lot different than just flat ground. You're gonna start feel it in your knees maybe or in your hips, not in a bad way hopefully, but you're just gonna it's gonna feel different, and it's gonna build those types of endurance muscles better. So that's my advice for training for hunting. If you're gonna train anything, like get your legs strong, and build some stability muscles, and be flexible with your legs, because if you take a fall or whatever, if something happens in the backcountry, the more limber and flexible that you can have your body, the better. And anyone can do it. Anyone can go and stretch every day and do these workouts and build some of these muscles and supporting muscles and large muscle groups too. And it'll all help for the backcountry hunter. So guys, that is kind of the biggest points I wanted to hit here on this episode. Especially towards the beginning, that's a lot of great stuff, talking about sponsors and how you could do that, how you can build those relationships. I think it's super important. I think anyone can do it. I think you just got to get out there and you got to put in the time and the work to make it happen. And if you're willing enough to put yourself out there, reach out to a bunch of companies. You might get ignored. You might get told no a lot, and you will get told no, and you will get ignored. And hopefully it's in a nice way, but it's not. Sometimes brands will just ignore you, and that's fine. It's just part of kind of how it goes. And then eventually you're gonna get one that says yes, and they're ready to work for you or work with you, and they want content, and they see your potential. So don't stop, keep creating, keep working out, keep working on making those network connections. Use LinkedIn, that's a big one, and just keep getting after it. If you need anything, hit me up, ask me questions, shoot me a DM, add some comments on this podcast episode if you want me to hit some stuff in the next episode. And we're gonna get some more guests rolling through here over the next couple months. Hunting season coming up. I'm gonna get episodes out. They might be episodes like recorded on my phone or something, but we're gonna do it and we're gonna make it happen. What's cool is a lot of my hunts are with other people, so if I am on a hunt with another dude, like we're gonna just record a podcast while we're there and get it posted, because I think that'll just be fun. So we'll do some tent podcasts this fall. Pretty excited about it, and just keep the content rolling out for you guys. So thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you guys next week.